If you're around in the mid-1990s, you remember a time when the UFC was less about polished athletes and more about raw, unfiltered. Sometimes. His use of brute force and aggression over technique was part of his appeal. It contributed to an unpredictability and any given day type of mentality. He wasn't a finely tuned athlete with a black belt in an obscure martial art. He was a street fighter.
Arit Soul Vegan, what's up? Congratulations, you are first.
A self-proclaimed pit fighter who brought a kind of raw savagery to the octagon. He was the antithesis of finesse. He was a sledgehammer in a world of scalpels. Fans loved him for it. Critics, well, they had a field day. Now, shortcomings were evident in his record, 10 wins to 15 losses. Far cry from the legacy of a champion, but in the spectacle that was the early UFC, records were often overshadowed by personality and memorable highlight reel moments. Outside of the cage, Abbott's persona was just as provocative. He was outspoken, unapologetically brash, and often controversial. His views on fighting were primal. He saw it as a test of manhood, a place where only the toughest survived. In interviews, he would deride traditional martial arts and scoff at the idea of fighting as a discipline. For Tank, it was about power, aggression, and the sheer will to inflict damage. Love him or hate him, Tank is part of UFC history. It's a testament to the era where the octagon was the Wild West of fighting, and he's one of the most notorious gunslingers. So Tank Abbott, Blast from the Past, was on Rogan, and I really wanted to talk about this. One, because he's a legend in the UFC in the primordial phase where it was still trying to figure out what it was and gain mass appeal, but also because he was just a freak athlete. Now, even I, as somebody who didn't follow the sport closely, had heard the legend of Tank Abbott. Me and my friends were constantly ranking our meager PRs against what the best, most prolific athletes in the world could do, as if we were ever going to close that gap. But it was motivation and it was fun. Now, seeing Tank, this is somebody that you would never think could move this kind of weight. In fact, in thinking back on these feats, I remember thinking very recently, without having looked back on them again, that must have been bullshit. I remember being awestruck when I was like 19, and I'm thinking back now, I'm like, there's no way that was legit. In going back and looking at these numbers, it was legit.
Got the train. I can't wait to go do it. I'm benching in the 500-pound range. Doing uprights with 315. I can do curls with upwards of 150 pounds.
Now this clip with him doing, God, he's pulling 315 up to his chin in the sloppiest way fucking possible. He, as the Boogs would say, is just horsecock in this iron, throwing 150s up in this single arm cheating clean thingy that kind of looks like a curl. It suggests that your arms are strong as fuck.
Yeah, dude, Tank Abbott was fucking insanely strong. He could bench 600 pounds. It was nuts how strong he was.
Fuck, no matter what, and thankfully for him, his biceps stayed attached. And his work with this bench weight, momentum, that springboarding, it's like, I don't even care that it's not like controlled or paused or any of that. In fact, the ability to absorb and reflect that force is in.
Ugh.
This is 600 pounds. Let's see if he can handle it.
Come on.
Yeah, dude, that's fucking nuts. Like, unreal weight.
Indicative of really, really high ability to produce force. I mean, that's behind like Cal Dietz's triphasic training. He realized that like some of his shot putters might have a similar bench, but the guy with the farther throw could like rebound quicker. He could like absorb and reflect force a lot faster. So his whole system is to like get stronger eccentric, then get really strong isometric, and then.
Good afternoon, VG. I hope that you are doing great today. So, wow, I can't believe that there aren't many PPL like this on live TV that have the courage to directly point out Repub hypocrisy.
Let me take a look.
Abortion was the best choice for your girlfriend. Why try to deny that choice to other women?
So let me give you some context about that situation, because I'm a pro-life Catholic, and I believe everyone should choose life. Now, if you listen to my presentation on the House floor, did you listen to it?
I did, in fact. I just quoted from it.
Okay, so what was the major theme, and what did I repeat probably 20 times?
In
Hold on,
fairness,
let me help you.
Oh, I thought you were asking me a
No,
question.
go ahead. Go ahead.
In fairness, your logic was a bit scattered in that speech. What I'm asking you about is the fact that you said that you respected your girlfriend's right to an abortion and then gave her money to help her through an important time to live her best
You
life.
did exactly what I did.
But yet you've tried to deny that to other women. And I'm asking, why is an abortion good for your girlfriend, bad for other women? That's my question. Simple question.
Okay. She had an abortion. Was that her choice? Yes. Did she have that right? Yes. Was it my choice, Kyle? No.
Why do you
I didn't
seek
want
to
that.
deny the choice that you said was best for your
Let me
girlfriend's
let me
life?
finish explaining.
Why do you seek to deny it to other women?
Let me. I don't. I don't.
You have voted to restrict abortion access as a
Well,
legislator.
and I have. And I'm a pro-life person. I think you should
This guy, like, what are their problems?
try to choose life every time.
Well, like, if they're fine with it in their personal life, why the fuck are they trying to ban it? It's just insane.
But there are exceptions. And there are times when you need abortion. Abortion is a medical procedure.
Is one of the exceptions when Richard Holtorf's the father?
No, it is not. It's not about me. Don't personalize it and make it about me. It's not.
You told the
Oh my
story on the
God.
House
That
floor,
doesn't
sir.
matter.
Okay.
That doesn't matter. That's a story.
Okay.
That's not that important. What's more important is the policy.
That guy's a fucking asshole. Wow. That interviewer is really good. Thanks for the donation, though, Ben.
And once you have that, you can start practicing punching and reflecting without your tendons just snapping and vanishing into thin air. And if you get good at that, that's athletic ability. So it's nice to think of the wench strength that powerlifters want, where we can like slowly forklift that shit down and then reverse direction. But the ability to absorb 600 pounds into your body and reflect it, that is tightly correlated with a lot of very, very desirable traits. And the fact is, this guy he had some mitts, he had some heavy fucking hands. It doesn't look right. Now, a couple things. Your bullshit meter ends up going off for a couple of reasons, because this is not a powerlifting specialist. This is a world-class feat in the bench press from a guy who isn't specialized in lifting whatsoever. In fact, he's a guy that hated specialization in his own sport. He didn't have respect for actual fighters that treated it as a skill. And you look at these two things that pull away from each other. The fact of trying to be a fighter versus being incredibly fucking strong, those things pull away. So your brain's like, well, is this promotional? Is this related to like WWE stuff that he did, or getting his name out there for the UFC? And those red flags start going off. But looking at this is like a casual home video of a guy doing a workout with his buddies. There's like there's no hype in the run up. It's him just sitting there staring, kind of like coughing into his hand, the most like unenthused performance ever. You see the whip in the bar when guys are picking apart bar bend. And of course, there's a lot of different bars bend a lot of different ways. But when calling out bullshit, guys will be like, oh, that bar didn't whip the right way. That's a bullshit lift. Those are styrofoam plates or whatever. That's the bar whip that you're looking for. That thing fucking springboarded. If you have a cheat bar, it's going to bend and it's going to stay bent. But if you have a power bar with some whip, you're not getting that flex with 315 on the bar. I'm going to tell you that right now. You hear the plate singing as he moves. That's music to my ears. And it looks like an authentic lift. But this guy's just obviously made of something else. And in the world of John Hacks and Sam Sheathers and guys that aren't quite as big that bench that kind of weight, you really get a sense that talent, that capability is out there. And we saw it in the form of Tank Abbott. Now, part of the problem with this is that it gave my young mind the misguided impression the specialization wasn't important. The people that did try to focus on one thing and really become a craftsman, they were nerds. But you want to talk about unrealistic standards. This put me further away from finding a system and working it to be as good as I possibly could at one particular thing. I really thought that if I wanted to, I could go be like a marathon runner and a calisthenic guy, and that I could also, lean out, but also put on 20 pounds of muscle. And I just had to have like the heart of a fighter like Tank Abbott. And of course, that is not how any of this works. I think reasonable people can look at Tank's track record and say that he was who he was in spite of his methods, not because of it. Guys, I got 3 quick points. Bromley merch, Barbell Apparel.
Always brought a party. You were having a good fucking time. You know, everybody thought that the skilled martial artist was always going to beat the fighter, right? But there was you were a skilled martial artist, but you were kind of more of a fighter, just a dude who fucks people up. And for you to just be going out there and knocking people out, you became the biggest star of the UFC, even without winning it.
Right.
You know, I mean, you beat a lot of good guys, but your power and your attitude, like when Matua went out and you did a little fucking dance, like everybody, because everybody thought martial arts was supposed to be bow and, you know, sensei and spirituality and meditating in the river, and you were out there getting wild.
Matua was metaphorically martial arts in my head. See, all these people running around, and martial arts is martial arts. Don't get me wrong. It works. It's a skill. But fighting is
chaos.
But I coined this phrase, I believe. Anyways, fighter's fortitude. And that is where...
Stance. This American fighter, like no other, is associated with fights without rules. It was then that the UFC tournament, the man who made people watch fights without rules and organizers of tournaments. Let's remember his spectacular fights in the UFC and enjoy his powerful knockouts. David Abbott started wrestling at the age of 9 and continued to train during his school days. He was considered a good...
It's kind of funny how Tank started off wrestling when his wrestling was actually pretty fucking bad. That's what really did him in. Like, most of his fights were lost because he had really bad wrestling.
Freestyle wrestler and even won some tournaments in his youth. During his college days, Abbott has always had remarkable physical strength. In his youth, his chest press was about 600 pounds. Experience played a significant role during his performances in the octagon. In college, he was also a wrestler, but at that time, the Gracie family had their 4 in the last fight.
He almost knocked out Don Fry. Yeah, I think when Don Fry went into his first UFC competition, I think he was a fucking taxi driver. It's fucking weird how some dude who's driving a taxi just wins the Ultimate Fighter. Don Fry highlights? We can check out Don Fry highlights. Why not? I hate all the stupid music they add to this shit. It's fucking annoying. Gary Goodridge got fucked up from fighting. He has really fucking bad CTE. Yeah, he fucked that guy up. Don Fry's fight with Takayama was the fucking greatest thing ever. That was the best shit.
That all.
All right.
Hello, friend.
Let's watch this. Cosmic Skeptic, is the Bible true? Alex O'Connor versus Dinesh D'Souza.
You don't think that's a contradiction?
No, it's not a contradiction at all, because the gospel writers are constantly
contradicting each other.
No, even in the ancient world, divine revelation comes into a primitive, barbaric world which is full of a lot of really bad guys.
And God says, keep going.
No,
keep it up.
God does not say keep going.
The God that you believe in is acting like a tribal war god.
A Christian book has got to be understood in the way Christians understand it.
So just to ask a direct yes or no question, I'd appreciate a direct yes or no to this. The God that you believe in is the moral author of the universe. Morally justifiably commanded the slaughter of innocent children and women. Yes or no?
Check. 1, 2.
Well, this looks like it's going to be nice and retarded.
We're just getting the YouTube live stream going, but thank you all for being here, nice and early. We're going to get going on YouTube, and yeah, we're about 15 minutes away from starting, so rock and roll. Feel free to just relax.
Hello, everyone.
This is Don Prager. He's up here doing a little pre-show chat with me today.
Yep. Travis and I, we've been talking for a while now, haven't we? We've met on Discord, what?
Well, you came in the
question and see where he wants to take it. Some people said that I shouldn't do this debate with this question. It's kind of an impossible question. It's the kind of question that requires more of an explanation to ask than to answer, which is a little bit strange. So I thought, the Bible is not a book. It's a library, and like any good library, it contains...
Dillahunty cringed $90. Look what happens when you eat meat like a bitch. Heart attack. Did he actually have heart surgery again, or is this old? Yeah, 2021.
My God, why are we still having this conversation about God in the 21st century?
Well, Dodo, dumb people just won't learn, so that's why. Thanks for the donation, though, Dodo. Yeah, Dillahunty's an absolute fucktard. I love how he talked all the shit about veganism being stupid and I'm gonna eat meat, I love my bacon, and then he has fucking quadruple bypass heart surgery. Literally every one of his fucking arteries was clogged. Fucking idiot. Cringe fucking atheist. me see.
I was hoping you guys could maybe help shed some light on.
All right, I'll take a look at that.
Here's another session of the same Republican congressional candidate where his foot is being held to the fire for his blatant misogyny. The interviewer's name's Kyle Clark from Colorado.
Let me take a look. Thanks for the donation, Ben.
Down to women, specifically the two women who are in this race for Congress. You have suggested that Congresswoman Lauren Boebert dresses like a prostitute. I've heard you repeatedly refer to Deborah Flora as Little Debbie. Why do you disrespect women like that?
Well, let's talk about my working with women.
No, just answer the question. Why do you talk about those two women like that so disrespectfully?
I respect women, deeply respect women. But here's where we have a problem, okay? With respect to the Congresswoman, okay? And I told you I raised 5 daughters, and I was trying to answer that question last time we met each other, but you cut me off pretty fast, and that's okay. I forgave you.
Why does having 5 daughters allow you to speak disrespectfully to women?
Let me tell you. Let me give you a chance. When you raise young girls and try to raise young girls to be respectful young women, okay, in the modern world, it's very important that they understand one thing, particularly if you're in a professional setting. You need to dress professionally, you need to act respectfully, and your behavior has to be a cut above. I've even said this to my girls. I've said your behavior has to be a cut above everybody else, particularly when people are looking at you. Now, I've been on the stage for 6 months now on the campaign trail.
So basically, I disrespect women because they're not doing what I want them to do. Got it.
With this Congresswoman. And I've stood by her and I've said, oh my goodness, I wouldn't stand by one of my daughters in a professional setting. I mean, you can be at a discotheque on a Saturday night at midnight, dancing yourself away and doing whatever you want to do. But on a stage...
What a boomer. Discotheque? The fuck?
In front of the entire state or electorate, and you're a congresswoman representing the state of Colorado, I think professionally you need to be at the highest level possible. And I think that matters. I think that matters.
Any of your damn business.
Because that person now wants to represent me as a CD4 electorate and a citizen. I live in CD4.
Yes, I love how a fat retard who looks like Jabba the Hutt is criticizing how another woman looks. Yeah. That's just how it goes.
On it. I've been atheist for as long as I can remember. And since my morals are essentially not dictated by Scripture, I find that on a day-to-day basis, ultimately what's dictating my sense of morality is anything that I can do that increases the happiness and...
Some big Lenians Rob Zillaments, R.I.P.
Let me take a look. Big Lenny Rob Zilla. Oh, is this the video where he took the drugs? Yeah, we can watch that later. That's a good one. Thanks for the donation, nigga. Just want to watch a few of these real quick.
Decreases the suffering of other sentient beings, much in the way that Sam Harris describes in his book. That's basically what's kind of defining my morality.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I don't think there is not equivocal to veganism. But I'm really having this hard time of escaping the notion that the two make pretty good bedfellows. Now, the question I have for you, I mean, I'm going under a couple assumptions. One is that you would also roughly subscribe to my notion of morality in some sense. And two, that you are not vegan.
Are you talking to me, Tracy, both of us, or what?
Both.
You want to go first? You want me to go first? Or?
Yeah, I was vegetarian for several years in college for basically the same reasons you're describing.
Yeah.
At the time, I wasn't a Christian, but I was a theist. And in my mind, part of what drove that decision was that I felt that it was not natural for human beings to be eating meat.
Yep.
But I'll never forget this video that I saw of chimpanzees hunting down and killing and eating a monkey live, which changed my view of primate diet in a huge way.
I saw a monkey eat meat, so I decided to eat meat. Like, wow, what an idiot.
People have a odd situation where
Bro. One donated $2, you upgrading to 5090, comes out in around 6 months with about 40-60% performance gain. Jensen will probably ask for $2,500 for it. The more you buy, the more you save. Yeah.
We also have videocards.com, who have
Yeah, so I probably will upgrade. I don't see why I wouldn't. I'm just a little worried that they're going to come out with a 5090 Ti, because I've heard that getting rumored, and it'd be kind of a fucking shitfuck if I upgraded and then the Ti
Why do
came
these
out.
Christians believe that their morality comes from some being they have never even seen? If their God told them to commit a mass shooting at a local high school, would they try to morally justify it too?
I don't know. Dodo. Thanks for the donation, though, dude. Let's see. 512-bit memory bus.
also put this together.
GDDR7. Yeah, it looks pretty dope. The only path to $20 is supper. Enjoy some mints. Yeah, people really like smashing into streetcars. Pretty retarded. Holy shit. That is a crazy explosion. That entire house just fucking disintegrated. Oh.
Discover his reflection.
That's a cow. Oh my god. That's a cow. Cow go moo. What is this wizardry? Oh my goodness. That's a good cow. I fucking love lemurs, dude. Lemurs are just amazing. Look at them just hopping around like little weirdos. Look at him. They just bounce. Oh my god.
I mean, if their God told them to do that, what would their words to justify the mass school shooting in trial even be?
I guess it would be God told me to do it. Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
Oi, Chanel! O que aconteceu? Por que você tá chorando? Oi! Oi, enjoada! Oi, Chanel!
That's a really nice sheep. I love sheep. That's a nice dog. Thanks for the donation, The Only Path.
We domesticate animals. Most animals that are capable of predatory acts is generally naturally applied to most species.
Yeah, okay, these are like level 0 fucking carnist arguments.
So Rob is one who was Baker acted 2 or 3 times, which in the state of Florida, you're held in a hospital or psychiatric hospital against your will for at least 48 hours and up to when the doctor signs you off. I heard you had similar experiences up in Connecticut.
Yes, similar things. The first time was because I think I went the wrong way. I told my girlfriend I was going to kill myself when I was like 22. And she like told my sister or whatever, so they all got me Baker Act, and I didn't even know what the hell it was at the time. So I went in there high as a kite, and everyone was sleeping. It was like midnight, and there was like snacks out, apples, whatever. So while I was high, I was like, oh, this ain't that bad. You eat as much as you want, hang out. Then you wake up the next morning, oh, what a depressing, disgusting place. And then my girlfriend calls me and says, I'm going on vacation with my girlfriends. I don't want to be bothered. So this relationship is done. So I was just laying there thinking, oh great, she's sucking some other guy's dick right now while I'm sitting here in this fucking stupid outfit. It was depressing. But like you said, I had good insurance at the time, so it's like a business. They keep you there as long as possible. But the first time I was a nut.
Did they have to restrain you or give you a shot?
Yeah, even
tranquilizer.
Once they told me I couldn't go, I stood up and started fucking with the door to get out, and then 4 police officers came, and I started, not police, like hospital security guards, and I started fucking with them, and then they all, they restrained me, they shot me up with that Haladrol and whatever, that Ativan, whatever.
Yeah.
And then, I remember every morning you had to meet with the doctors, a group of the psychiatric doctors.
Oh, the experts.
Yeah. And they said something I didn't like, and I fucking snapped. I started picking up chairs, throwing them at the glass. I punched holes in the ceilings. I went fucking livid. I took full trash cans, threw them across the place, and then they let me out like the next day. I think they were like, this kid's going to cost us more money than we're going to make.
Well, they're scared, basically. They don't want to
hilarious.
They want to do the power and the position, but when things get a little rough and you're big, they don't want you there. I did the same thing with me. I kicked the door down when I was Baker acted, and I got a...
One donate to lawyers. Did you ever react to this? You were in some of these episodes.
People, all my... God damn it!
Action.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Let's talk about...
Poop Shoot, donate to lawyers. Would you believe these are Indians singing They Sound European? Yeah, they don't sound Indian. Thoughts on this bitch? Let me see. The link he gave me is broken. Twitter is just not fucking been working lately, but thanks for the donation, Poop Shoot. What was this?
You know, what you are. Just 5 seconds, just 2 seconds. Here. No! I'm here to... You know what, don't even fucking...
Yeah, this isn't good.
I ride back home, and they were waiting for me at the house. And, 7 Palm Beach County Sheriff's cars.
Yeah.
Hog-tied me, put me in the back, and I was kicking the window. But back to the psych ward I went.
Yeah.
Big racket. You feel helpless. You feel trapped. No one's listening to you. They want you to do their agenda, their money, their convenience.
Right. And they try to put you on all these fucking medications, Seroquel,
So they all can make money.
Exactly. Yeah, because they could charge the insurance a shit ton for those. So then about like I kind of deserved it at that point because I was saying suicidal shit, but then like 3 years later, I just went to the hospital because I was breathing in carbon monoxide. And once you're on their records as someone who's been up there, they're gonna throw you right back up.
Yeah.
So some lady came down when I was there for the carbon monoxide, and she's like, I see that you work at a medical marijuana facility. Do you smoke? And I said, yeah, why? And she said, well, you could just be kind of be delusional that you're breathing in carbon monoxide. I said, are you fucking serious? I said, fuck you, get the fuck out of my face. Just like that. And then I overheard them talking that they were going to Baker Act me again. So I looked out the hallway when they were doing a shift change. I ran down the stairs. I had a sweatshirt in there.
Oh my
I
God.
put that over the gown. I tucked the gown into my sweatpants. And I hopped the fence. I still had an IV fucking thing in my arm.
That's hardcore.
Hopped the fence. I ran to the New Haven train station. I took
Dude, that's insane. So that's how healthcare works in the fucking US. If you have insurance, they know they can just scam you out of fucking money and they'll just force you to be in a mental ward.
took either the train or I took a taxi because a lot of taxis waited at the train station. I took a taxi back to a hotel, and my family blowing up my phone. The cops were looking for you. Cops were looking for you. So I had to go back, and it was like, what the fuck, man? It's like jail, except you're in there with a bunch of creeps. People saying, like, reading books at night saying Lucifer, like real possessed fucking freaky shit there. But fuck that.
We gotta maybe Baker Act Brad going to this satanic fest. He's probably saying that at night. We'll see him tomorrow, but that's a good real life learning experience. And you know what? If they weren't able to make money off you, they wouldn't give a damn if you killed yourself or not. They act like they do.
Yeah, no, they don't care, not at all.
Yeah, it's money. They're getting paid.
Yale New Haven Hospital, democratic piece of shit, evil place.
Yeah, ruins
real
lives.
Evil.
Soy Goose donated $2. What does ASPD entail, and did they say there's a spectrum to it? I'm wondering because generally people with ASPD don't have the capacity for empathy, so is your empathy for animals more instinctual than emotional? I think you're borderline or ASPD also. So yeah, there's a spectrum, and there's traits that are linked with ASPD. I don't have every single trait, and the extent to which those traits are expressed can either be less extreme or more extreme. Just because you have antisocial personality disorder, it doesn't mean you have no empathy. But there are some people with ASPD that have literally zero empathy, and they usually become like serial killers. And I've always just really liked animals. So I don't know. I've just always liked animals since I was a kid, so thanks for the donation though, Soy Goose.
Evil place. They tried to put everybody on the same medication because they're getting big kickbacks and incentives.
That's why I don't like doctors. They would say, this is wrong with you, this is wrong with you, this is wrong with you, this is wrong with you.
You're bipolar.
Then you got to depend on them,
ups and downs, yeah.
I've been called that how many times? So have you.
Yeah.
Bipolar.
How about they could call me the bipolar bear.
They did a number on you know who, Remain Lamus. Mr. Jason.
Oh. Yeah, let's go in there and get the Oh, do you have a mask in your...
Ralph donated $2. How would you have reacted if this cop pulled you over like this? Could you list your favorite movie from the main genres like horror, action, drama, comedy? Favorite,
Agreed, pulse animals are way better than people, which suck, by the way.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, I'd rather hang out with a goose than a person. Thanks for the donation though, Dodo. Favorite movie from main genres. I think my favorite horror movie is either The Thing from the 1980s or It Follows. Action, probably Die Hard. Drama, probably Only Lovers Left Alive. Comedy, probably Dumb and Dumber. That's like just a timeless classic. Sci-fi would be probably Blade Runner 2049. Anime, might be Akira. So, yeah, those are some of my favorites. Thanks for the donation, though, Ralph.
Hello, Miss Ellis. Do you have an attorney? You do? Do you have the money or means to hire an attorney? Have you received your indictment? Okay. Have you read it? You have not read it. Okay.
Is she, like, just mouthing the words and not speaking?
We have a copy here. You can read it. You don't want to read it. Are you willing to accept that the public defender has read it to you?
It's a shame Blade Runner 249 bombed thanks to the My Little Pony movie.
I don't think that's what made it bomb in the box office. I really have no idea why it didn't do well. It was a really, really fantastic movie. People just have no fucking taste, dude. Like, it doesn't make sense. Some of the best movies of all time just have not gotten the appreciation they deserve, and then fucking assholes will go watch Star Wars. Thanks for the donation, though, Dodo. Ryan Tratner donated $2. Pro Pallies apparently ruined a bunch of people's grad experience at U of T. Looks like they're planning to do the same at my school in a couple of days. Let's see. Wear a Palestine sash. Wear your keffiyehs. Oh my god. What do any of these kids think this will do? Like, I'm gonna annoy everybody at graduation. Take that, Israel. Like, oh, these fucking children. Thanks for that donation, Ryan.
I'm sorry.
Soy Goose donated $2. Where do you think that you got your sense of morality from? Well, that's kind of a stupid question where everybody else gets it. It's a combination of genetics and socialization. Weirdly enough, I think I learned it when I watched Batman, the animated series, or the Justice League. I think it's even more prevalent than religious teachings. Well, that, like, again, that's just socialization. I think the cartoons that probably helped develop my sense of morality were Spider-Man, the animated series, and Dragon Ball Z. Probably those are the two most influential. Thanks for that donation, though, Soy Goose.
You asked her not to. Well, but she did read it to you, correct? She didn't read it.
Did you hear they are remaking Goodfellas with Chris Pratt starring as Henry Hill?
No way. Are they really? Why would you remake Goodfellas and with fucking Chris Pratt? No way.
Why did none of these cunts make a peep about Ukraine? But they bitch about Israel defending themselves. Most of these pieces of shit are tankies.
I'm not finding anything about a Goodfellas remake. There's no way. Thanks for that donation, though, Matthew. David. Well, none of those people complained about Ukraine because they're just anti-Semites. They only took the opportunity to talk about Palestine because it gave them an opportunity to shit on Jews. That's it. They don't really care about humanitarian issues. They only care about hating Jews. Thanks for the donation, though, David.
Read it to you. Okay, well, we can read it in open court. About June 3rd, 2024, the defendant did purposely and with prior calculation and design cause the death of J.W. 10/29/2020. The state of Ohio reserves the right to seek a superseding indictment containing the appropriate 2929.04A aggravating circumstances specifications. And so you understand that means the state is reserving its right to add a death penalty specification. Count 2 alleges that on or about June 3rd, 2020.
I've never seen somebody with boobs so low on their body. Her boobs are literally where her stomach should be.
24, that the defendant did purposely cause the death.
Or is that just her stomach? Does she have like really odd proportions?
Of J.W. 10/29/2020. Count 3 alleges that on or about June 3rd, 2024, the defendant did cause the death of J.W., date of birth 10/29/2020, as a proximate result of the offender committing or attempting to commit an offense of violence that is a felony of the first or second degree, to wit, felonious assault, Ohio Revised Code Section 2903.11A1, and or endangering children in violation of Ohio Revised Code Section 2919.2, did knowingly cause serious physical harm.
She stabbed a 3-year-old child to death, and then here she is in fucking court. What the fuck? Ryan donated $2. This is getting scary. The 3rd and 4th clip especially. Let me see. Protesters celebrate rape and murder of October 7th massacre outside New York City hostage exhibit. Holy fuck, dude. I really wish the police would just come in there and batter everybody. Like, why do they only do this with, like, black suspects? Do it to fucking assholes, too. Why, like, when the police actually, you know, should commit brutality against people, they fucking don't. Yeah. These people are not making anybody become more sympathetic to Palestine. You're just making Palestinians look like fucking crackpots. Yeah, they should not be allowed to live. Thanks for that donation, Ryan.
Harm to J.W. on date of birth June 3rd, 2024. The defendant did torture or cruelly abuse J.W. date of birth 10/29/2020, a child under 18 years old. 2024. The defendant did, knowing that an official proceeding or comment before I set bond. Is that true?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Good morning, sir. Could you start with your name?
My name is Jared Wood, father of deceased, husband of Margot. Your Honor, that day, 1 week ago, she took everything from us. There's nothing that could ever replace my son, or anything that my wife and I, even our other kids, are going through. It's horrendous. But really wish no bail, period. Or extend it to the max limit possible that you can, at the very least. Just do whatever you can to keep this monster behind bars.
Thank you, sir. Is there anything else you would like to say?
That'll be it.
Sure, donate $2. Let me see.
As much as I like the Moondrop variations, they just cannot compete with a good speaker setup. With IEMs, or problem because songs are mastered with stereo speakers, just completely lackluster compared to what you're getting with speakers. Speaker setup, which is with that, I'll be able to design where it's supposed to be coming from in front of you.
Okay, thanks. I don't know why you sent me that, but thanks for the donation.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Present her at the first.
Well, that's pretty fucking insane.
Will you quit shining that light on me before I... So you want to check your what? Yeah, check this, you whip.
We gotta watch part 1. Because part 1 is hilarious.
Whoa.
Big Lenny hospitalized. Big Lenny overdose.
You say to jail? Anything to say?
Oh, baby. What the fuck did I do?
Leonard?
Yes, sir.
Anything to say to Dale?
Dale, what'd you come in? 5th place? 6th place? A big pepper.
By the way, this happened because a random girl at his workplace offered him drugs. He had no idea what it was. He just swallowed some pills, and this is the result. Oh my god.
Somebody call 911.
You call him.
Will you quit shining that light on me before I... So you want to check your what? Yeah, check this, you whip.
And then when the fucking EMTs show up, he's like calling them a wimp and shit.
This is Rob talking to you.
Love her, Robzilla.
Yeah, man.
She's pretty. You got some big arms there. Where am I, baby? Will you quit
Ralph donated $2. Sorry I asked so much in my last one, but you didn't watch the vid. What do you mean? Oh, my bad. I didn't, yeah, I forgot the link. Thanks for that donation, Ralph.
How you rolling, man?
What do you mean, why am I rolling?
Let me get your license, man.
You have no reason to come up here and just open my door like that. Guy pulled his gun on me and everything.
Put both hands on hold, please. Remain there. Do not move, okay?
What's your reason for pulling my door open?
It's an older truck, man.
So you just ripped my door open because it's an older truck?
And you're rolling. People who roll have warrants.
I haven't rolled anything.
They have pot all over their pants.
I don't have
Smells
any.
like marijuana. You're being
This is
now.
sawdust.
Put
Under
your
arrest
hands
for.
up on the
What am I under arrest for?
I'm frisking you for weapons, Bubba. How much marijuana is in the vehicle?
I don't have any marijuana in there. I got sawdust in there, and evidently that's marijuana. So what's the reason for the search?
For your mud flaps, man, being too short.
You ripped my door open, said I fought all over me, which is sawdust from working because I've been cutting all day. But for my mud flaps for being too short. What's your name and badge number?
I wouldn't have gotten out of the car, and I wouldn't have answered any questions. And I would have let the guy arrest me, and then I'd just sue him for you'd probably win like at least $50K out of a lawsuit like that. So that's how I would have dealt with it. Ryan donated $2. Visited Auschwitz with a set group tour. Everyone was like, how would anyone do this to people? Then the tour guide took us all to KFC after, and everyone around me ate dead chickens. The dissonance is insane. By the way, thanks for sticking up for the Jews. Love you. Well, yeah, should have pointed out how if it's that easy for you to Holocaust chickens, that's probably same sort of reasoning and logic is what led to the fucking Holocaust. Thanks for that donation there, Ryan.
Shine that light on me, Mr. Porch.
Stop. Nobody wants to stop.
Where am I?
Lenny, stop.
Where am I? Seriously.
You're at work. You just lost another job, Lenny.
Oh, you're pretty.
Hey,
Where am
down
I?
your pockets for me, would you?
Will you quit being a wimp?
Empty your pockets, Leonard.
Here. Where am I? Where am I? Oh my God, what is this? Would you please? All right, I'm going back to work.
No, you're not going back to work. Rescue's gonna check you out.
Rescue this, you whoops.
Just get checked out real quick, Leonard.
Yeah, I want some girls.
Hey, don't leave it. Leave it. Leave it. Hey, drop it.
Shut your mouth.
Do not pick that up.
That's an oral syringe, Mr.
That's
Porch
fine.
Monkey.
That's okay. We're not gonna pick that
Porch monkey.
So rescue needs to evaluate you. Okay, you gonna be good with that?
No, you don't need to evaluate. I'm going back to work.
No, you're not going back to work.
What happened?
What happened, Leonard? Look at you.
I'm fine.
Are you not?
Quit shining that light on me, Mr. Affirmative Action.
Okay, listen. You're gonna let rescue check you out, right?
I'm fine.
Okay,
You want me to distract you? You guys cool? You're gonna take me down? Hey, what's your name? My name is Leonard Parsons. Where are you? What city are you in right now? I'm in Broward County. What city are you in? What do you mean, what city am I in, wimp? What year is it?
Leonard, these guys
This is
are here to help you.
The year of the cat.
Hey, Leonard, we're
going
to take a trip to the hospital, okay?
I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah, we're going to take a trip to
Year of the cat.
Sit down. Did you use anything tonight? No, I didn't. Did you take anything? What did you take? I didn't take anything, Mr. Porch Monkey. No, I'm not.
You have no medical problems?
Does it look like it?
The way you're acting right now isn't normal. We're going to take you over to the hospital.
It's not normal for what?
How you're acting right now. Everybody knows what city we're in.
Oh, shut up.
We know the year.
I'm going to work,
Answer these questions.
then I'm going home. That's
No,
it.
We can't go home, unfortunately. Not tonight.
Yes, I am.
Listen, we gotta have rescue check you out,
I'm
okay?
fine.
Well, no, rescue needs
The
to check
year
you
of
out.
the cat. Why are you grabbing me? Stop. Stop it. What are you handcuffing me for?
Check you out.
For our safety, okay?
Come on. That's too tight. Let off of me.
No idea.
Those are too small. Grab my oral syringe. Oh, that hurts. Will you get those off of me? It's too tight. Get it off of me. Get it off me. It's too tight.
In a minute.
Get it off of me. Will you grab my oral syringe, Rob, please?
No, leave the syringe alone.
That's my oral syringe. Will you please get that off me? It's too tight. We're caught up in circulation. Get it off of me.
We'll fix it, don't worry.
Get this off of me. Fine. Get it off of me.
We will in a minute.
Get it off of me. It's tight. I can't. It's cut off by circulation. Get it.
And over to $20. Check out the latest U.S. Supreme Court ruling that came out today.
The Supreme Court has preserved access to the medication used in the most common form of abortion in the United States. The drug at issue, mifepristone, was used in nearly 2/3 of abortions in this country in 2023. Now, the court ruled that the anti-abortion doctors who challenged changes that the Federal Food and Drug Administration made to the way mifepristone is prescribed and used had no legal right or standing to file their lawsuit in federal court. Among the changes that the FDA made in recent years was to eliminate the need for an in-person visit and to allow the drugs to be sent by mail. The case is the Supreme Court's first abortion case since the justices overruled Roe v. Wade 2 years ago. In that case, the court wiped away a 50-year-old ruling that had guaranteed a woman's right to an abortion in the United States.
That's actually kind of surprising that they would preserve access to mifepristone. I wonder if it has anything to do with the pharmaceutical industry, like paying them off, basically. Because especially like Clarence Thomas, he's incredibly fucking compromised. So it wouldn't surprise me if there's some sort of industry pressure on the Supreme Court to allow for the drugs to, still be prescribed. That's interesting. It's kind of good news. Thanks for that donation, Ben.
Get these off of me. Get it off of me now. Get it off of me. You're cutting off my circulation. Get it off of me now. Get it the fuck off of me. You're cutting off the circulation. You get it off of me. Get this off of me now. Get it off of me. God damn it. Will you get that fucking... Get it off of me, my wrist. We are working. Stop it, please.
Well, those are some good mints. Big Lenny is quite a character.
Contains an amalgamation of different genres. And so asking if the Bible is true, you might as well ask if the corpus of Shakespeare is true. It sort of betrays a misunderstanding of how people interact with the text. So I thought, will Dinesh argue that the Bible is literally true, historically true, allegorically true, morally true, theologically true, metaphorically true? And I suppose the only thing for it is to sort of try each one on for size. So maybe beginning with Genesis, in an attempt, clearly not at historicity, but rather allegory and metaphor, we can deal with one of our types of truth here. We're introduced to Adam and Eve, who are told in no uncertain terms by God not to eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. You may begin to wonder why knowledge of good and evil is such a bad thing, but the thought is interrupted by the introduction of the serpent, who says to Eve, did God say that if you eat of the tree, then in the day that you eat of it, you shall surely die? And Eve says, yes. And the serpent says, well, that's not going to happen. God just knows that if you eat of it, you'll become like him, knowing good and evil, and he doesn't want that. That's all. You're not going to die. So Eve famously takes the fruit, eats some, gives some to Adam, and what happens? Do they die in the day thereof? Some people say in a metaphorical sense, yes. We'll get to that in a second, but at least on the surface of it, no. What does happen? God tells us himself. He says, now the man has become like one of us, knowing good and evil. He must not be allowed to reach out his hand and eat from the tree of life, lest he inherit eternal life. And with this, Adam and Eve are banished from the Garden of Eden. So who's telling the truth here? This story is quite mystifying to me, and I'm not the first to point this out. There's actually an apocryphal gospel discovered near Nag Hammadi in Egypt in the 1940s, dated to around the 2nd or 3rd century, called the Testimony of Truth, a gospel that didn't make it into the New Testament, which identifies the serpent, interestingly, who's never called Satan in the text, by the way, identifies the serpent with Jesus. I don't know if I'd go quite that far, but it does seem that the sort of allegorical truth of the story leaves a lot to be desired. I'm told that maybe Adam and Eve died a sort of spiritual death, or mortality entered the world. But then we need to ask why it is that God
showed you that because you wearing trash Sony closed-back wireless headphones that sound like tin cans. You will never be as elite as me with my 9.2.4 Neumann surround sound system, you peasant. Do you even detail retrieval?
Hello everyone.
I'm quite satisfied with my Sony headphones.
Chapters with Chapter 1, Digital
Yeah, all this is just kind of gay. Thanks for that donation, though, Sharsher.
had to proactively banish them from the Garden of Eden. This isn't some natural result of sin that, mortality entered the world. They're banished. And the implication is that they could have just as easily reached out and eaten from the tree of life, but God didn't want this to happen. So he guards the gates of Eden with a cherubim, with a flaming sword. I find this quite strange, and I'd like to know what Dinesh thinks of it. Moving on quickly, I suppose, to the events of the later Old Testament, skipping over Exodus, we're introduced to another form of truth that I want to potentially engage in, and that's the concept of moral truth. That's another one that I spoke about in the beginning just there, the concept of moral truth. When we look at some of the military conquests of the Old Testament. Bear in mind that the promised land pledged to Abraham is not an empty plain. Its indigenous inhabitants had to be, shall we say, displaced by a series of military campaigns ordered by God and carried out by his prophets. Thus we have such commands as in Deuteronomy, chapter.
I didn't go to the grocery store, but I did buy donuts, and checked my lottery tickets. I didn't win, but luckily, nobody won. So the next draw is 66 million, so that should be mine. 66 can't be a coincidence.
20. When you march up to attack a city, make its people an offer of peace. Sounds promising to start with. If they accept and open their gates, all the people in it shall be subject to forced labor and shall work for you. Some peace. If they refuse to make peace and engage you in battle, which, why would they do that on these terms? Lay siege to that city. When the Lord your God delivers it into your hand, put to the sword all the men in it. As for the women, the children, and the livestock, and everything else in the city, they get to go... You may take these as plunder for yourselves, that's right. And you may use the plunder the Lord your God gives you from your enemies. Likewise, in 1 Samuel, we have the destruction of the Amalekites. There's the order, now go attack the Amalekites and totally destroy all that belongs to them. I'm told sometimes that this is actually an exercise in hyperbole. God didn't mean everyone. It continues, do not spare them. Put to death men and women, children and infants, cattle and sheep, camels and donkeys. And if you think that this is hyperbole, consider what happens when Saul does conduct the destruction of the Amalekites as ordered and decides to leave alive the king as well as some of the best of the livestock. He leaves them alive. For this small act of mercy, God responds by saying to the prophet Samuel, I regret that I have made Saul king because he's turned away from me and has not carried out my instructions. So not even the animals can escape this genocide. So I'd like to ask Dinesh, I suppose, directly, which is it? Is this a morally corrupt series of events, or do I have to dispel with my moral intuition that genocide, including of innocent children, is a bad thing? There's plenty more to talk about in that regard. I don't want to take up too much time. This isn't, of course, to mention the advocacy and explicit instructions around slavery in the Old Testament. Hopefully we can get onto those too, if we want to go down the moral path. But I think that the most natural interpretation of the question is the concept of historicity. The literal truth of the Bible, that is. This is where I think we have to move to the New Testament, because the genre of the Gospel seems to be historical biography, unlike the mythology of a book like the Psalms or Genesis or Job. And here there's a lot to talk about. We begin with the birth narratives. There are two birth narratives in the Gospels, in Matthew and Luke. Both give different accounts. Both have a genealogy of Jesus, for example, but the genealogies are different. I'm told this is because one records Mary's genealogy and one records Joseph's. You can do this if you like. It doesn't seem like the most natural reading of the text if you're not already predisposed to synchronize the accounts. Then we have, for example, the flight to Egypt, which is only recorded in Luke, which is difficult to reconcile with Matthew's account that they went to the temple in Jerusalem instead. But more importantly, Matthew then says that the family traveled to Nazareth, and he says, so was fulfilled what was said through the prophets, that he shall be called a Nazarene, quoting the prophets. Now you'll notice if you read an online Bible that where the Old Testament prophets are quoted, there's a little footnote telling you what the prophecy is. In this case, you won't find one, because the prophecy simply doesn't exist. It's not there. There's no such thing. So
And over to Nutellers, here's some Biden news. Let me see. Biden campaign urges GOP to drop mail ballot lawsuits as Trump changes stance. On Thursday, President Joe Biden's re-election campaign urged top Republicans to withdraw their lawsuits aimed at limiting mail balloting. Now that Trump has started endorsing the method. Trump, who previously claimed without evidence that mail voting was fraudulent, recently launched a campaign to promote mail voting among his supporters. Despite the shift, the Republican National Committee, RNC, under Trump's influence, continues to pursue legal actions against mail voting practices in several states. Yeah, so Trump figured out that telling his followers not to mail and vote was a bad idea because you're going to end up losing votes. That's hilarious. Immigrant advocacy groups sue Biden administration over asylum processing limits. Wednesday, a coalition of immigrant advocacy organizations, including the American Civil Liberties Union, sued the Biden administration over its recent executive action restricting asylum processing. The lawsuit, filed on behalf of Las Americas Immigrant Advocacy Center at the Refugee and Immigrant Center for Education and Legal Services, argued that Biden's executive action violates a congressional statute that allows migrants to apply for asylum regardless of their point of entry. Well, yeah, it makes no sense. If you're applying for asylum, it doesn't make sense that you'd have to go to a certain point of entry. And again, Biden wanted to deal with this by just increasing funding to immigration services, get more immigration lawyers and shit, but Republicans wouldn't, agree to it. While Congress has placed some limitations on the right to seek asylum over the years, it has never permitted the executive branch to categorically ban asylum based on where non-citizens enter the country. The lawsuit contends that the statutory text prevents the president from barring non-citizens from asylum based on their manner of entry into the United States. Biden's executive action, effective immediately due to high daily encounter averages, limits asylum processing once there's a 7-day average of 2,500 or more encounters. Exceptions exist for unaccompanied children. Lee Gellert, deputy director of the ACLU's Immigrant Rights Project, emphasized the administration lacks unilateral authority to override Congress and bar asylum based on how one enters. Well, it's interesting. Thanks for the donation, though, Ben.
There are two options here. Either Matthew made up this prophecy or got it wrong, in which case the New Testament is mistaken, or the prophecy does exist, but for some reason fell out of our scriptural tradition and now no longer exists, which makes the accuracy and at least the completeness of the Old Testament suspect. So again, I'd like to ask directly which it is. Finally, I suppose I should mention the contradictions that a lot of people point to in the Gospels. Some of these I think are legitimate, some are not. I'll give you some examples very quickly of gospel contradictions that I do think are real contradictions. First, the date of Jesus' crucifixion. Was it before the Passover, as John states, or was it after the Passover, as the Synoptic Gospels state? Second, Jesus is sending out his disciples to teach. In Mark, he tells them to take nothing with them except a staff. In Matthew and Luke, he says, take nothing with them, including no staff. So do they take a staff or do they not? A pedantic contradiction, but a contradiction nonetheless, and one that's led people like Barnabas, Ahern, to write entire articles on this. And Augustine himself actually distinguished between a literal staff and a metaphorical staff to explain this difference. Anything, I suppose, except considering the possibility of even the most minor of gospel contradictions. Third, Jesus flipping the tables at the temple. A famous story, but did you know that in the Gospel of John, this takes place at the beginning of Jesus' ministry? In the Synoptics, it takes place near the end. So when did that occur? Mary Magdalene, after the resurrection of Jesus.
A donated $2. My reaction to this Alex's video.
That's an illegal move. Shit. This is gay. You're gay.
Hi, this is Gabriel.
I don't get it, but thanks for the donation, A. Bootycom donated $2.55. Is he spitting facts? Let me see.
Always overlooked to turning out to be the chosen one. Shout out to my bullies, now I'm winning. You can make fun, I'll shake it off in a minute. On a good day, I'm smoking like a chimney, but on a bad day, I'm burning up like a village. Mary Jane releases my soul. Can't explain the pain that I know. Let the blood inside me, it flows. With the strength inside me, it grows. And the tears start falling when I'm by myself. So I turn to Mary Jane, cause when I'm high, it helps. But
yeah. Thanks for the donation, Bootycom.
Runs to the disciples.
John Zerko accidentally fondles a tranny on Steam. Watch for a little bit at 0:50 and then a little more at 6:50.
What did you say? Huh?
All right, well, let me take a look.
Beat the shit out of his wife. She's not. Sit. That dude ain't a man. Why, that sounded crazy.
Yeah, baby.
Come over here.
So this girl's trans?
They're pissing me off. They're just stressing me out. Honestly, I'm just gonna go up to the bitch and say, do you have a penis? Dude, I don't know, Chad's like, I would never do that to my boy. Like, I have to ask you something, dead ass. Why is Chad saying this? Why is Chad saying this?
I don't know.
Boom. I don't know, dude. If so, you don't have a, you don't have a penis, right? What? Date IQ.
Okay, I don't know why that matters, but thanks for that donation, Trans IQ.
In John's Gospel, and says, they've taken the Lord. And we
No, didn't win the lottery, but nobody actually won, so, next draw is in 2 days, so I'm gonna win that one. It's for 66 million now. Order 66. It's mine.
We do not know where they have put him. Strange thing for her to say if, as the Gospel of Matthew recounts, she's visited by an angel at the tomb who tells her exactly where Jesus is going, and then she's met by Jesus herself on the way to the disciples to bring them the news. Strange for her to then say that they've taken the Lord and we do not know where they've put him. There's more to say on this. Interpolations, things which seem not to be in our oldest manuscripts but end up in newer manuscripts of the New Testament, such as the adulterous woman, let he who is without sin cast the first stone. Most scholars agree that this was not in our earliest manuscripts and was added in at a later date. And if we can see that the gospel stories were edited after they were written down, there's no reason to think that they couldn't be edited before they were written down as oral traditions too, as well as the entire ending of Mark 16. There's a longer version and a shorter version, because the longer version simply isn't in our earlier manuscripts. These documents don't seem to have the historical reliability either. So, in conclusion, I've probably spoken for too long here. Are we talking about allegorical truth, moral truth, metaphorical truth, theological truth, historical truth? I suppose what I want to say to Dinesh is take your pick, and I'll probably have something to say about it.
All right. Here we go. If you don't mind, I'm going to stand up. Is that okay?
Please.
Okay. I'm standing up because I want to kind of neutralize Alex's accent advantage. I mention this because it seems to me no accident that so many of the prominent so-called new atheists have British accents. I think this is really important to their credibility because think of it, if Hitchens and Dawkins and Alex were three Southern boys from Louisiana, would they have quite the same impact? And readers of the work, understanding that, have always taken it in that spirit. So, as I listen to Alex, I think to myself, let's think about the Bible, what kind of a book it is. Well, first of all, it is a book that exists sort of within a tradition and within a church. I mean, there was no Bible for 300 years, right? The early Christians get together in the 4th century, they put the Bible together. Now, there's already a flourishing church. In fact, right about that time, the Roman emperor will convert to Christianity. Christianity will become the state religion of Rome. And the Bible will become, this assembled Bible will become the handbook of this church. And so it is to this day. Now, that's one point. The second point is that the Bible is a very strange book to be asking this kind of a question about, because the Bible knows.
What's the argument against people starving in Gaza? There's only, 4 or 5 recorded starvation deaths since the beginning of the war. And there's like 120 food trucks coming into Gaza, per day on average. So, yeah, there's enough food coming into Gaza.
Nowhere admits the legitimacy of this kind of inquiry. It's worth noting. The Bible is a book of declaration. I would say of revelation. It never tries to prove anything. It could, but with very rare exceptions, and even those exceptions are generally kind of feeble, it is a book of sort of bold proclamation. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Boom. It's declared as something true.
Is there ever a dull moment with this interviewer from Colorado? Check out him pointing out Lauren Boebert's hypocrisy with criticizing Biden because of Hunter Biden's felony conviction.
Let me take a look.
Republican Congresswoman Lauren Boebert is attacking President Joe Biden after his son Hunter's conviction on federal gun charges. Boebert posted, "How long till dear old dad gets involved and fixes this all up for him?" That's interesting, seeing how Boebert also has an adult son facing criminal charges. Now, that's not a slam. That's just an observation that there was an opportunity for Boebert to choose empathy over politics. She chose politics. Because Boebert and Biden have actually had remarkably similar public responses to their sons' criminal indictments. They both have said that they've tried to keep their sons out of trouble over the years. They've both said that their sons will have to be accountable for their actions. Both Boebert and Biden have expressed hope that their sons' dark times are now behind them. And both Boebert and Biden have said that they will respect the judicial process. Biden said that he won't pardon his son, and Boebert has made no excuses for her son. They're both going through what must be an extremely painful thing for a parent. It could have been common ground, but Boebert chose scorched earth.
Well, Boebert's a dumb bitch. We all know that. Thanks for that donation, Ben. One donated $2. Found Alex's fat brother. They both sound the same. Why do all Brits sound the same?
This is the ZMF Caldera. It is the first planar magnetic driver headphone from ZMF and quite a departure from the sound of their other headphones. So let's talk about it.
He does kind of look like Alex, but a fat version of Alex. Well, thanks for the donation, one. Why do all British people sound the same? Probably because they're all related.
Now, I want to reflect on that for a moment. Before I do, let me say, if you think about that sentence by itself, it's a puzzle. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Obviously, somebody is writing this. But who? No one was there, except God. And yet, the sentence does not say, in the beginning, I created the heavens and the earth. There's apparently an observer. And the observer is recording, and God is, in fact, in the...
2 doll hairs donated 2 hairs donated $2. You have to delete one of these from the human experience forever. 1 dropping a fat log, 2 sleeping in, 3 chilling in the AC on a hot summer's day, 4 saying the word retard or any version of it. I guess pooping. Yeah, I guess I'd have to get rid of pooping. There's two big benefits to getting rid of pooping. One, it would make waste management and, making sure we have clean drinking water way easier. And two, anal sex would be far less complicated. Thanks for the donation to Doll Hairs donated 2 hairs. Dodo donated $2. Let me see. That Twitter link doesn't work. And
now that we have already paid for this compute in these cars, it might be wise to use them and not let them be idle. Like, we don't want that. We'd want to use the compute as much as possible and close to basically 100% of the time.
I think it's analogous to Amazon Web Services, where people didn't expect that AWS would be the most valuable part of Amazon when it started out as a bookstore. That was on nobody's radar. It seems like kind of a no-brainer to say, okay, if we've got millions and then tens of millions of vehicles out there where the computers are idle most of the time, we might as well have them do something useful. If you get to the 100 million vehicle level, which I think we will, and you've got a kilowatt of usable compute, I think you'd have on the order of 100 gigawatts of usable compute, which might be more than anyone, more than any company, probably more than any company.
And unlike laptops and our cell phones, it is totally under Tesla's control. So it's easier to distribute the workload across different nodes as opposed to, asking users for permission on their own cell phones would be very tedious.
Well, you just drain the battery on them.
Yeah, exactly. The battery is also limited.
Whereas for the car, even if you're a kilowatt level inference computer, which is crazy power compared to a phone, if you've got a 50 or 60 kilowatt hour pack, it's still not a big deal. You could run for 10 hours and use 10 kilowatt hours of compute.
Where you got a built-in liquid cooled thermal management.
Yeah, it's exactly
expense for data centers, so it's already there in the car.
Exactly, and it's already paid for. Yeah.
This section of the call definitely created a stir on social media, where this panel of executives is telling their customers that the car's brain that houses the compute is going to be used by the company to mimic an Amazon Web Services processing matrix, which is ridiculous. Paraphrasing, Musk and Tanea are talking about it being the company's prerogative to monetize the processing power of the computer in privately owned vehicles. Tanea says the company has already paid for the compute in the vehicle, disregarding the fact that new owners will have paid the company for it when they purchase the vehicle from them. Nobody says anything about paying the customer for that ability, draining the battery for hours while the car is not in use, possibly creating a situation where you now have to stop on the way home to charge your car.
Well, that's the brilliance of Tesla. So basically, they're going to use your car as some sort of compute unit without your permission, drain the battery, and cost you money. Yeah, right. Oh man, I really want a Tesla.
The narrative. God is in fact the subject of it. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. So as I think about this statement, I think that first of all, it is an astounding claim, completely counterintuitive. And by counterintuitive, I mean, I get most of my intuitions from Aristotle. Aristotle, using you could call it philosophical common sense, says the universe has always been around. It's always been here. You don't need an explanation for how it got started because it never got started. It's always existed. And the Greeks also believed, as you probably know, out of nothing can come nothing. So therefore, if you first had nothing, how can you get a universe? The Bible goes against this Greek tradition and states categorically, as a matter of fact, that first there was nothing, and then there was a universe because God made it. So there are some factual assertions here. The assertion that the universe had a beginning, the assertion that the universe, in a sense, came out of nothing, and of course the assertion that the universe was created by God. So we can, if we want to go down this road, I'm not going to do it right now, explore whether this astounding claim that was made by the ancient Jewish writers with no evidence at all, no empirical investigation, no scientific experiment, no attempt to measure the redshift of galaxies. Nevertheless, the ancient Hebrew writer says, we know this to be true because God told us. And now here we are, more than 2,000 years later, really more like 3,000 years later, and we're in a position to ask, is this claim true? So I'll defer that. I'm happy to discuss that, and probably will. But this is one way to think about whether what the Bible says is true. It's making these categorical assertions. And most of these assertions, I would argue, are in the domain of revelation. The Bible is, in fact, a revelation. A revelation. Right here we have a problem.
Ralph donated $2. A while back, I tried kind of hard to get you to play chess with the vegan zombie, and you both agreed. Why didn't it happen? How much would you charge to play somebody? I don't know. I don't think he messaged me or something or what, but it just didn't happen. If you want to play chess, I mean, you could just give me a Streamlabs link to an online chess game, and I guess we can play. Whatever. Thanks for that donation, Ralph. I am so very tired. You have no idea. So goddamn sleepy I am. Sleepy and peepee.
Because how does one approach a revelation philosophically? Alex, you just tell me when I'm out of time. Okay, I'm just
Play Gears of War 3? Maybe I should.
gonna go until you stop me.
3 minutes, I think.
I'm okay?
3 minutes or so.
I got 3 minutes. Oh, wow. It's just getting started. All right. I'll save some of my stuff. But that no intelligent...
Oh, Wally, donate $2. Go to sleep. Come back tonight. I'll take a nap later. Thanks for the donation, Wally.
Person, I think, can avoid having to raise. We have no way to
Oh my
say
god,
reasonable
shut up.
relationship.
The things you've already said.
All right,
if you don't mind.
We will put the ball in your court. So I think what's going to happen now is we're going to go into discussion.
Hope so.
Right? Okay, and you're going to ask me some questions. We'll discuss, and I'll ask you some.
Sure, and I'm happy to essentially take the things that I said in my opening statement and slot them in and apply them to the things that you just said right there. So you began by saying that the Bible is a strange book to ask these questions of because of its purpose. I assume you'd agree with me that the Bible is a collection of books rather than a singular text, with different authors, different intentions, and most importantly, different genres. So the first question I suppose I'd like to ask you is, do you agree, for example, that at least some biblical texts are attempts at historical biography, such as in the Gospels?
Of course. I would agree with that, but let me just qualify it this way.
Sure.
When we think of the Bible as revealed, the question now becomes, what do we mean? Did God write the book? Did God inspire the book and human beings wrote it? Did God show human beings events that they then described in their own words? Okay, so the reason these things are important is it seems to me, to answer the question I raised earlier about in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth, the way I understand it is there's a perfect revelation shown to a gospel, to a Bible, to a Jewish scribe who sees it, so to speak, but writes it in his own words. When I look at the book of Revelation, same thing.
And does it get anything wrong? Do those scribes get anything wrong?
It's quite possible that they, when you say get anything wrong, they are writing it in human terms. I mean, you know...
I mean the specifically mundane human things. I'm not talking about when the author of Genesis says that God created the heavens and the earth, or talks about the Spirit moving across the face of the water. This is clearly mythological. This is clearly an attempt at mythological writing. That's fine. It would be silly to ask if that's true or not. But when somebody...
I don't think it is mythological writing at all. I think that it is simply... I mean, put it this way. If we were, in the year 4000 BC, if we were John the Divine, and let's just say that God showed us in a vision the actual end of the world, right? Sure. Apocalypse. We would then write down the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, death and famine and destruction.
This is good jacking content. Thanks for the stream, my master.
Well, glad you're enjoying. This debate is horrifically boring.